What's going on, guys? Rolandas here. So this video gonna be a little bit different than usual because like recently I was talking with a couple of guys, they're hair transplant patients themselves, obviously, and they're fairly educated on the subject as well. I was just, chatting with them basically about different topics, different subjects, what's going on in the industry right now. It was very interesting to hear their opinion and their perspective on the subjects that I'm interested and I'm actually discussing. So I decided to record it so I can share with you guys on this channel. But before we dive into it, make sure to subscribe to this channel because I'm posting and updating you guys on my first hair transplant journey, and I'm obviously planning to have a second one. I'm cutting all the bullshit. I'm showing you guys with different conditions my hair transplant, so you know what to expect when you're gonna get it done. Feel free to give a like if you enjoyed this video, and let's get right into it. Why not? They are good at creating high density hairlines. But like, what's gonna happen if you're gonna be in the future Norwood 6 or 7? So you're gonna have this, island of hair in the front and nothing behind it, and no donor to, to kind of catch up. So bad.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, you think about your average customer, and this just applies in the wider world of business. People want things now. That's why credit cards exist. And they're not bothered about the long term. Take a few in your 20s, you're not really thinking about your 40s and 50s and 60s, and it's very easy to think you won't care about your hair then. But you speak to any top surgeon, assuming you meet them before the day, and they'll tell you that people still care, men still care about the hair well into their later life. So you're dealing with an uneducated consumer. Or a consumer that's happy to accept cherry-picked photos of high density where people have used huge amounts of grafts in a small space, and people who are wanting it cheap and are wanting it now. So you've got a huge market there that's obviously led to the expansion of lower cost clinics, and it's going to be a seemingly sort of endless audience. I mean, I'm just wondering if 5, 10, 15 years time, which these clinics don't really care about, again, because they're suffering from the same thing of the short term, is when you've got this army of people with bad hair transplants or overly aggressive hair transplants that's going to be a problem when they start losing more hair and they haven't got any more donor hair, whether that's going to affect the business models. But again, that's so far down the line, relatively speaking, that the clinics and the customers don't really care about that.
Yeah, it's a shame, especially the people that are not willing to take finasteride. It's like, it becomes a trend nowadays. Like, everyone is hating on it. Everyone thinks I'm just gonna get another transplant, and then they're going somewhere that they're paying like $2,000, dollars, very cheap one. Their donor gonna be botched. They don't have any hair left, in their donor just to fix later something.
Yeah, I mean, they do. I mean, you have to look at hair loss stabilization beforehand, and again, it comes down to a lack of planning and research. People read on the internet that someone is blamed every ill they've had in their life on finasteride. They're going to get depression and a dick's going to fall off and all this nonsense. But you have to actually get stuck into the underlying data. Any responsible surgeon will have the conversation about hair stabilization and medical treatment. My surgeon is notorious for knocking people back, particularly if they've not explored stabilization, because it's like, well, your hair loss pattern is unknown, your genetics are unknown at this stage. We can get an idea, but we don't know. So and you read stories of clinics that are like, oh, you shouldn't take finasteride and these type of things. I mean, if you have side effects, you can try microdosing, you can try different frequency of dosing, and then if you still have side effects, at least you've tried it. The overwhelming evidence is that if you do have side effects, then they will disappear with discontinued use. So people need to actually get past the scaremongering and actually look at the underlying data, the underlying evidence. Millions of men are taking this drug, and there's thousands of years of experience of this drug. And people need to sort of get some perspective and stop thinking about the worst case senorio, because it's so improbable.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure people gonna eat you alive now because you said thousands of years of experience.
Well, collectively,